Got Brian Peterson here as well. Alison Pyron. And we're going to go live here right now. Awesome. Well, welcome to this week's edition of the 10X Business Owners Mastermind Call. We do this call every week, and this will be, we've kind of experimented around with a couple of times, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to, in the month of May, we're going to move this call to 10:30 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesday. So we're going to try out that time to see if that works better for everyone. So if you're watching this recording, watching the YouTube video, this call will, for the month of May, and probably for the foreseeable future, will be at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesdays. And so with that said, let's get rocking and rolling. I titled today's call, Life, in quotes, business is like a box of chocolates. And so movie Forrest Gump, he's sitting on that park bench and, he says, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And sometimes business is like a box of chocolates. You just never know what you're going to get. I mean, you'll be working your business and everything is going smooth, and then all of a sudden life throws you a curveball and you've got to adjust. And because it's not like you can call in sick sometimes. It's not like you can take a vacation or take time off, or, if your business is not to the point where it can't run without you, then what ends up happening is you're the person, right? So if you disappear, and I find that a lot of business owners, when they have not gotten to a point where they can scale, are in that boat. And they soon discover, after they've hit 100 grand a year, after they hit 150 grand a year, typically around 250 grand a year, they realize, I have a business, but I really don't. I actually own a job. And you either like that, or in some cases you hate your job, but you figure out you own the company. And so what do you do? Well, I want to talk about how you deal with challenges as they arise. Number one. Number two is how to start prepping yourself to get yourself into a position where you start outsourcing certain things. You start delegating certain things to free yourself up to focus on your business. So kind of a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. And full disclosure is this is being streamed live on YouTube. And so if you look up John Pyron on YouTube, you'll be able to find the live stream there. And so only the people that actually have their video on will actually stream live on the YouTube channel. Other than that, you will not be streaming live on YouTube. You'll just be right here. So what I always tell people when they show up here is I've implemented the process where you can rename yourself. So just kind of as a hint and a tip is add to your name a hyphen and then put your website URL. That way people that are on the live call or people that are watching the recording can have access to you and connect with you. And one of the other benefits of being on the live call early on is we're going to kind of go around real quick and introduce ourselves and share with the group for 30 seconds who you are and what it is that you do and what is your business. So with that said, start off with Mr. Alan Reeves.
Good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate you being here. I own Mouse Calls Technology Solutions as well as another company called Luminosity. Basically, we provide tech support services along with infrastructure and cybersecurity to small businesses, medium businesses around the country, all the way down to solopreneurs. I encounter people that I have to that is perfect. We have offerings that are exactly what you need, and you may not even have realized that you needed them yet. So that's my spiel for today. Alan Reeves at Mouse Calls.
Awesome. Next up is Alison Pyron.
Hi guys, so been in sales and marketing for about 15 years, so customer service for about 30 years, and working currently with John on doing assessments, so all the TTI stuff, that he has going on in his business. I'm going to be taking over on that avenue. And so, yeah, so that's what I'm doing now.
Awesome. Awesome. Brian Peterson. And you're muted.
All right.
There you go.
There we go. Hey, yep, I'm Brian Peterson here. I've been in marketing as well for about 4 years now. Work for a company called Employers First Choice. We're pretty much marketers for other companies. We're currently marketing for a municipality benefits program called the Employees Club of California. We reach out to folks within the city of Los Angeles, state employees of California, and currently we're trying to crack within venues for other cities. And that's about it.
Awesome. Welcome to the call. Finally, Jacqueline.
Hello, John. Hello, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Grant. My company is called the Management Academy, and we are a business management and marketing consulting firm, and we also do professional development certification training in project management, Scrum, Agile, and Six Sigma. So we practice what we teach.
Fantastic. Welcome to the call. And Jacqueline is going to be our special guest today. So we're going to come back to you here shortly and get a chance to talk to you about you and your business, and looking forward to it. So let's go ahead and get cracking here. So one of the things that I've been building companies now for 30 years, would love to say everything has been peachy keen, and it has not. Anytime that you're going to go out and do something on your own, you're going to face challenges. And probably, first I battled those challenges constantly, and my mentor kept telling me, it's like, you know what, the more problems you get and the more challenges you face, the more growth you're going to experience. You can't grow and you can't expand if you're not going to face challenges. If everything was just perfect and put in a nice 1, 2, 3 order, everybody would build a business. But 85% of all small businesses fail within the first 5 years. That's a statistic out there that's been pretty consistent for the past 30, 40 years, at least 50 years that I've been alive. It fluctuates here and there, but for the most part, about 85% of small businesses fail within the first 5 years. Of the 15% remaining, 80% of those fail in the next 5 years because they either run out of capital or experience, or they fail to scale their business. But in all cases, no matter what kind of business that you have, there are times where you're going to face challenges. Life's going to throw you a curveball. Life is going to happen, and that's just part of the deal. So you got to be able to put yourself in a situation where ultimately you get your company as quickly as possible to a point where the core functions of your business no longer depend on you. Some businesses can get there in a couple of years. My client, Jackson Sands out of Chico, they probably got another year, maybe 6 months to a year before their business is at that point. And so a total would be about 3.5 years it took them to get there. The past 2 companies that I sold, it took me 2006, 2011. So that took 5 years to get it to, 5.5 years to get it to the point where it no longer depended on me. Anything can happen. I can end up in a hospital, get hit by a car, get hit by a bus, whatever. The business is going to go on. And ultimately, when you begin with whatever your ultimate goal is and whatever your ultimate dream is in your business, that's the saving grace. So one of the things that I've learned, and I consistently do today for the most part, is in the morning routine that I have is I'll write down the goals that I'm going after. Why am I doing this? Why am I getting up this early? Why am I living life? Why, whatever comes to my mind, I just start writing it down. And that's a reminder of what I'm after. So when the challenges come, I'm able to whip that journal out and refresh my memory as to what's going on. When I started mentoring with Grant Cardone many, many years ago, one of the things that I've learned, and I started implementing his 10X planner routine, I believe probably September 2015. And that process is getting up and writing out your top 5 goals. Whatever comes to mind, just write it down. and then put out some, give yourself a quote for the day, and then write out your top 10 targets for that day. Then at the end of the day, celebrate your wins. Write out what your top 5 or 6 wins were. And then finally, before you go to bed, rewrite your goals again. And one of the things that he had said in a talk one time that I really have taken to heart is whenever you face a challenge that you don't know, you get discouraged, you face a challenge, your motivation's down, your energy level's down, is whip out your journal or wherever it is you keep this and reread and rewrite your goals. So very specifically what he says is, like, whenever he gets discouraged, he just whips out a blank sheet of paper and just starts writing his goals. And within 10, 15 minutes, he's back on track. And because I tell you right now, man, the bigger the goal, the more challenges and obstacles that you're going to face. That's just reality. And because you're going to have to grow into that. You're going to get there so much faster mentally than you will physically. But if you don't get there mentally, you're not going to get there physically. And so what I would recommend and what I do, get discouraged, anything like that, life throws a challenge at me, stuff happens in my personal life, business life, whatever. To get refocused is I sit down and write out my goals. Now, I also add prayer to the deal, so that helps out quite a bit. But those are the things, that's kind of my tip for today, if you will, is keep in mind, whatever it is you're trying to do in business, the bigger the goal, you should set big, hairy, audacious goals, as Jim Collins talks about in Built for Last and also Good to Great, because you want to have goals that are so big that it seems impossible to hit, because that's going to pull you into the future. If you're setting a goal and you're like, I know for a fact I'm going to knock that goal out of the park, you set your goal too low. You're not stretching yourself. And so when I reviewed with a client of mine this week, and we looked at, actually yesterday, we looked at, okay, here's the goal, here's the revenue goal we had set for the year. Here's the stretch goal that we set for the year. And we found out yesterday that here we are at the end of April, and we're literally almost 35 to 40% of the way there. So, like, this is great. Good for you guys. You guys are doing awesome, but we need to adjust this goal. But before we do that, let's hit that goal first. So it looks like we're going to actually hit that goal probably in September, and we're going to have to readjust and raise that goal because it's been set too low, because they're just having a phenomenal amount of success. And so set big goals that pull you into the future. And when you find yourself facing a life challenge, a life problem, something happens that you're unexpecting, write out your goals, get back on track, and get back to work. Fear, doubt, and worry never manifests money. Okay, let me repeat that because it's a very important saying. Fear, doubt, worry never fest success, money, health, whatever it is you're trying to go for. Fear, doubt, and worry do not manifest success or results in that. It's action backed up with dreaming backed up with action that cures that fear and eliminates that worry and that doubt. And if you happen to be a faith-based person like myself, Brian on here, and I don't, Allison, and I don't pretend to know what everybody else's faith is here, but I lean heavily on God. It's like, it's in your hands, dude. I'm just going to show up and do the work. And that really helps out a lot. So with that said, Alan, what do you got for us today, man?
So total departure and diversion from all that is a little bit of a technical anomaly, and it's a good lesson for people to learn. You may think that you are protected when in fact you've just been marketed to very successfully. One of my organizations encountered a prospect a couple of days ago. It was a business, and they had reason to believe that they had suffered some sort of data breach or hack. They weren't sure, but they wanted to bring us in to take a look at some things. Well, let's just say that the staff and the management had different opinions about this than the ownership did. The ownership is like, we've got to be tight. I've got X product for backup. I've got Y product for security, and we surely we're fine. surely we're fine. So my staff took a look at the primary machine that was running a very mainstream antivirus product that all of you have heard of. This antivirus product declared this computer to be completely clean, no problems, no infections, no nothing. We ran one of our tools, one of our business grade tools on this computer. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on the screen or not, but my staffer took a screenshot when we got to 3,765 pieces of malware on this device, this one computer, before the scan was even done. This computer had live over 3,000 infected files. And one of the functions of these infections was keystroke monitoring. Basically, what it was doing was taking a shot, keeping a log file of the websites that the user was on and everything that user was typing in when they were on that website. So if they're on a bank page, if they're on QuickBooks Online, the login, the admin username, the passwords are all being get. And I had a conversation after this with the business owner. And he's just incredulous. And I could tell that he was even skeptical of what I was telling him. But he's like, how can this be? Like, I've got millions of people have this product. So-and-so gives this product away as part of this. Everybody, it's one of the big names out there. How could this be? Why are you telling me that your stuff is better than this big name that I'm familiar with? And it's because what they're good at is marketing. They're not good at security. And if you will take a look, and I showed him, the founder of the company has a Twitter page where he tells everybody all the time, I left that company in 1996. It's garbage software. Don't come to me with complaints. I have nothing to do with it anymore. But yet it's marketed so well that people purchase it, run it on their systems, run it in their businesses. But because it's marketed well, they think that surely they must be in great shape. When in reality, it's an awful product. It doesn't do a good job. It does not protect you well. And that is the difference between having the business operational maturity to realize that just because you've heard of something, that doesn't mean it's good. It doesn't mean it's a good product if it's something that's mainstream or whatever, because technical products are marketed very, very interestingly. Many times, free market capitalism goes sideways in technology because people don't understand what is a better technology. They understand what's marketed well. They understand what they've seen. They trust what they've heard. And a lot of times, that's just bad, bad, bad advice. And that's my bit for the day.
Let me unmute myself here. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, you're an engineer. You're knee deep into the stuff, you know. And when I was running IT companies, I was not an engineer, and the thing that always struck me was I'm using 10, 15 times more technology than my clients. And we had clients that were, you know, home users, solo entrepreneurs, 25, 30 employees. We had Sutter Health, which is thousands of users. But we got paid at one point until I flipped the company in 2017. We got paid, okay, you have a problem, and we come out and fix it, we bill you. So the more problems you had, the more money we made. Well, when I flipped that on, you know, kind of what you've done is when I flipped that and said, okay, I'm going to charge you a flat fee, and I'm just going to take care of all your stuff, and I get paid when you don't have problems. That was a very scary move, number one. Number two, the client appreciated it a lot because it made me, the IT company, take ownership of it, and that's what you guys do. So stuff like this, people don't understand. When they buy a new computer, all this free stuff comes with it, and be aware what you get for free. Okay? Be aware what you get for free, because it's not always good for you. And The stuff that comes, typically the antivirus software and all this other freeware, ends up messing up your computer more than it helps once you activate it. So if you're listening to this recording, definitely reach out to mouthcallsonline.com, and for two reasons. Number one, if you're a solo entrepreneur and you don't quite have employees or other computers, or even if you have 2, 3, 4, 5 employees but you don't have a server, these guys will take really good care of you. Once you get up above that, you're going to need a lot more consulting, and there's a whole division to that as well. So thanks so much for the information, the tips today. So before we get to our special guest, does anybody have any questions, comments, anything that they would like to add to what we've already discussed, or ask questions? And you'll unmute yourself or not. All right, cool. All right, let's bring on Jacqueline Grant, the Jacqueline Grant. Welcome to the call.
Thank you so much for having me, John. Thank you.
Awesome. So full disclosure to everybody, and this is how it works. If you want to be a guest on this show, I didn't prep Jacqueline. We didn't rehearse anything. I prefer that. I prefer just talking to you straight up.
Yes.
Just off the cuff about you, your business, what it is that you do, how can you help small business owners in this space. So real quick, I'm a small business owner, less than $1 million a year, and you're talking to me right now, and I'm your prospect. Okay. So what kind of engagement, let's kind of role play it here. I'm your prospect. So go ahead, talk to me.
First, let me say that I prefer off the cuff as well. I like just being transparent and not having a lot of prep. So this is just my jam. So if you are my client, I would first off engage with you. And that's the key word, engagement, building a relationship. It's not about being salesy. No one likes that. So I'd say, hi, John, how are you today?
I'm great.
Well, I understand that you're here at this conference because you're a business owner. How long have you been in business?
In business, this particular business since 2012, going on 10 years next year.
Wow, same with me. I opened my version of my current business in 2012 as well. And that was kind of trying times, wouldn't you say? It's right after the 2008 downfall. How did you survive that time period?
Well, for me, it's getting back to good old-fashioned sales. So power-based networking, reaching out to family, friends, relatives, clients, past clients, people I went to school with, people on my cell phone, people on my social networks, and doing a high-touch campaign to separate myself from everybody else. That's what I did in 2008. That's what I did last year in 2020. And that's what I taught all my clients, and everybody grew 20, 25, 30. Actually, one company grew 45%.
Wow, that's tremendous. You have a secret sauce for success. And I know we have a lot in common because I did the same thing. I used my engagement to be able to build my business during those difficult times in that 2008 through 2012 period, as well as through this pandemic that we're going through. The biggest thing that I found that people were seeking was how to build relationships when they weren't meeting in person. Did you have that issue as well? Did you kind of see how you could do that when you couldn't meet in person with people?
Yeah, I mean, some people they got it right away, and they accepted it, and they faced the reality, and they pivoted, and they got that mindset shift quick. Mm-hmm. Others are still going through it. Others still can't believe we're not back to normal, right? And so, but it sounds like you have a way of developing relationships with other business owners. So tell me more about that. How do you do it? What do you do? How did you pivot last year, and how did your relationships grow and blossom? And what did you do?
Well, let me share first with you that in 2017, I went totally online on my business. And so I faced a problem that I really didn't anticipate ahead of time. I was a great networker, loved to network in person. I was key in following up. That was my key differentiator, is that I would actually meet people in person at a networking event and actually follow up with them. And so I would follow up on LinkedIn, and I would use LinkedIn in a very strategic way to follow up with those that I met. So when I went totally online, I said, uh-oh, I'm not meeting people in person. How am I going to continue to meet new people and bring them into my world? And I used LinkedIn in very strategic ways to continue to build relationships with people I've never met, with people that have never met me in person. And so now when COVID hit last year, what did I do? The very same thing. I didn't miss a beat. I continued to work my strategies utilizing LinkedIn to not only serve more people, but serve people worldwide. So I was able to broaden my scope of touch, and I basically did the same thing. So I didn't miss a beat, but what I was able to do is show others how to take what was an in-person experience and transition that into an online experience where they got the same know, like, and trust factor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, utilizing LinkedIn, where they didn't even have to be there present live.
Okay, so let's just say for the benefit of everybody else that's on the live call and listening to the recording, let's make sure, okay, we've got the basics down. We're set up on LinkedIn. Our profile's great. We've got a great personal headshot. We've got a background. Everything is good, right? So we got that foundation in place. And if you don't have that foundation in place, I will tell you flat out, do exactly what I did. I reached out to somebody like Jacqueline. Like, if I would have known Jacqueline back then, this is the person I would have reached out to and said, hey, I need to pay you for an hour or two of your time so you can guide me through how my LinkedIn profile should look. That's the first place you start. If your LinkedIn profile is not magnetic, then you need to be connecting with Jacqueline. I would recommend, well, let me put it this way. I would highly recommend you connect with Jacqueline and at least get the foundation done. So let's just say, here we are, we got the foundation done. Maybe I got 250 connections, maybe I got 500, maybe I've got 1,000, or maybe I got 4,000 or 5,000, right? So what are some of the things that I can do this week to, just one strategy that I can take action on, that the audience can take action on this week to grow my relationships on LinkedIn?
Well, having a good profile is important, but this is really not about having a pretty profile. It's about having the pieces in place to develop the know, like, and trust factor that your ideal client is looking for and looking to see on your platform to help them make the decision to hire you versus someone else. So it's more than just the basics. It's not about your resume being on LinkedIn, but it's really about what do they need to make the decisions. So one key area that many people don't utilize to its fullest is the about section. They usually just transition their resume over to the about section, but that is a way for you to really speak to your ideal client. You want to cover who, what, where, when, why, and how of you and your business in that section, and use all the characters that they give you to be able to tell that story about you and your business. You want someone to be able to say, oh, that's me. They're talking to me. That's what I need. You want them to raise their hand and self-select to want to work with you. So that's one way. Also, you mentioned about certain numbers, 250, 500, 1,000. You want to get to that bare minimum of 500 plus connections. Why? Because that's when the Google juice kicks in. That's when the LinkedIn juice kicks in, the analytics that allows you to really take full advantage of all that LinkedIn has to offer. If you're under 500, you're really only working with your own connections that you have made. And I want to make the distinction between connections and followers. There is a difference. When you follow someone, that's only where you can see what they post, but you can't engage with them. And it's all about engagement to build those relationships. When you are a connection, You can actually communicate back and forth. You not only see each other's posts, but you can actually message each other and build those relationships. So when you have good connections over 500, you now not only are connected to your connections, your first level connections, but now you can also be connected and engage with second level and third level connections to broaden your reach and the search for your ideal customers. So one thing I also want to share is that it is about quality versus quantity. Yes, you need to have certain numbers to be able to take advantage of the algorithm, but it's about quality versus quantity, because would you rather have 1,000 people that you know nothing about and they know nothing about you, and therefore you can't do anything for them and they can't do anything for you? Or would you rather have, let's say, just 100 really connected, engaged people who want and need what you have to offer and have a high probability of being a customer maybe today, tomorrow, next week, or next month? And if your dollar amount, let's just use an average number, $1,000. If your product or service is $1,000, let's say, would you rather have a few of those versus 1,000 people who will likely never buy from you? It's quality versus quantity. That's really important when you are selecting who to connect with and who to accept connection requests from. Does that help?
Let me unmute myself to answer. Yeah, it helps out a lot. And I'm just I'm going to look up your LinkedIn profile right now. And let's see here.
While you're looking that up, I just want to share with the audience, you know that they're out there, your ideal clients that you know you can serve, but how do you connect with them? Especially when you've never met them in person, you've got to make the experience that would likely be when you meet with them in person, the same experience that they get on your LinkedIn profile.
Let's show this real quick. So I love your profile. I mean, you've got great headshot. I mean, walk us kind of through some of the ahas, the standouts here. Obviously, great background, headshot. This space right here is very important, right?
Correct. Actually, I'm doing a class right now, and I specifically did not put certain things into my profile because as I go through it in my class, I actually change it on my profile. So it's still being changed over based on the class that I'm running, but it still has the pieces in place that we can talk about. So if you like, let's start at the top and I can give you some key points that I cover in my program. So in the banner, which is your billboard to the world, thousands and thousands of people are passing your billboard every day, so make the most of it. You not only have a catchphrase or something that is unique for you to be known by, which for me is I'm the LinkedIn client lady, because I help people get clients through LinkedIn. This tells a story because when I actually now speak to someone, I can tell them that I was the speaker at a conference in the Dominican Republic, and this is the audience waving to everyone in America, saying hi to Atlanta, where I live, waving hi to Atlanta. So I have a story to tell about the picture, which is engaging. I have a catchphrase, the LinkedIn client lady, and I have a call to action, turn connections into clients, ask me how. So it gives a call to action, makes people want to know more. When you talk about the wording under my name, this tells what I do. So it tells what I do, who I do it for, and again, another call to action, ask me how. So I do several different things, but what I'm promoting at the moment is my LinkedIn Client Formula program. Other times of the year, I have a Start Your Consulting Business Now program. So whatever I'm promoting at the time, I can change this. So don't think that your information has to be static and once it's there forever. You can change it as you change, as the seasons change. Maybe you're promoting different things. I also do business summits. So there'll be times when I'm promoting the business summit. So this is truly a billboard that you can change year round as many times as you like. Another thing that's very important to utilize if you have this on your LinkedIn profile is the little, if you see the little, what is it, a horn or megaphone. If you don't press it yet, but what I want to tell you about it is that not everyone has it yet. So check on your profile and see if you have it yet. It is being rolled out to everyone, but slowly but surely to all the millions of LinkedIn candidates out there. It is being rolled out. So if you don't have it, you will have it shortly. What is there for is to help people to know how to pronounce your name, especially if you have a name that may be mispronounced very often. This is a way for you to share how to pronounce your name. That's the original intention. But how I use it is not only to help people to get to know me and hear my voice and get another layer of getting to know me, like me, trust me, is that I also use it as a marketing piece to share with people what I do. You only have 10 seconds, but you can say a lot in 10 seconds. So if you like, John, you can share that and you can get an idea of what I'm talking about.
Oh, wait, got my volume down.
You may
I'll
need to
come back. I'm streaming it on YouTube, and if I do that, then I'm going to get a bunch of feedback. So,
okay,
but I'm going to come back and play that because that is cool. I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, so you can use that as your little marketing piece to be able to say something. Example, what you might say to someone in person when you meet with them for the first time and you're introducing yourself. You can say that. Again, 10 seconds is gold and a lot of time. So how much more time do we have? I want to be mindful of your time.
I think this is enough for now because the thing I want to encourage at this point is you have a class coming up to kind of go deep into this stuff, right?
Absolutely.
When is that class?
That class starts next week, which is Tuesday, May 4th. And we meet online and we have clients in the current class from all around the country, all around the world. So if you aren't able to be there live, we record every class and we have students that watch the replay and we engage together without time being an issue on Slack. So all the resources and everything is on Slack, but we engage live on Zoom. And if you aren't there live, you can always watch the replay. But it goes for 6 weeks and you get the deep dive on not just how to make a pretty profile, but actually how to make it work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to get inbound leads to your business. Or if you're a 9-to-5 worker, it will help you to get raises, promotions, or new business, work in a new line of business. Whatever you want to utilize LinkedIn for, we can show you strategies on how to do that. And the key thing is, it's working for you 24 hours a day, inbound leads where they raise their hand and say they want to work or engage with you. Just as a brief closing example, one of my clients is a medical doctor who just retired last year. He wanted to start a consulting business to be able to serve other doctors with end-of-life conversations with their patients. So he started a consulting business. Within less than 2 months of working with me, he got 577 qualified leads, not just a lead, but qualified leads based on his target audience. And the first person that he engaged with took his program, bought his program, and brought 5 other people from their organization. So it works.
And so you're going to go through all this step-by-step stuff in this workshop then?
Absolutely. We hold you by the hand. It's the most supportive and engaging program that really takes you step by step through everything. And it's not that I'm passing you on to someone else. You get me. You get me, my experience, my background. You get me taking you through and taking it to apply to your particular business.
Awesome. So if you could share in the chat window how, well, I'll just speak for me, how I can get access to it, where I could go and look at it and sign up for it, because I definitely want to sign up for something like that. I got some people I want to refer to that. LinkedIn is powerful, especially if you're going after business owners and you're going after business people. I mean, the thing I've learned over and over and over again, I can get to a destination a whole lot quicker if I follow somebody who has already gotten there and can show me the path and the route without having to step on a bunch of landmines. So that's where something like this is not only going to be valuable for me because I'm going to buy it, but and I don't even know what it is at this point or how much it costs, but to update my LinkedIn profile and get it to where it's attracting more of the clients on a regular basis is valuable. It's just huge, and it's a tool that needs to be leveraged. The thing I really was impressed with in talking to you over the last several weeks is I've been paying $79.99 a month to LinkedIn for their premium service and have no clue how to leverage that. So if you do the math on that, that's what, $800, almost $960 a year for a tool I'm not even using. And what you're teaching is I don't have to have a premium service. I can just use the tactics and strategies that you have and be able to be successful. So I'd rather give my money to you versus giving it to Microsoft, who owns LinkedIn, and go from there. So thanks so much for sharing. And the link here is in the chat window.
Thank you so much for that, John. I didn't even mention that we do all of this without paid ads and without Sales Navigator. So it's straight strategy.
Yeah. So I'm going to put this in the YouTube video, and once it all gets edited and so forth, and give people access to it. And I look forward to learning more about that. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you and your audience. Thank you so much.
All right, let's kind of open it up. Now we're at the portion of the call where you get to ask whatever question you want about your business, whether it be a business problem, challenge, an opportunity. This is where you're able to get free mentoring, coaching, masterminding from other business owners on the call, including myself and Alan. So in order to participate, you got to first come, first serve, raise your hand, and ask whatever question you want. So who's up first? Alan's up first. Go ahead.
So I've got to say, this is one of those business owner moments. I'm being hit. I've got to put out a fire. I am going to depart early, and I apologize for that, but I do have something that I have to deal with that's very, very important out west. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate this, and I will see you on the next go round. John, have at it. Thank you.
All right, Guy. We'll talk to you later, man. All right. Who's up first? Who's got a question? Nobody. Okay. So, anyways, one of the things that we're doing going forward is, Allison, my wife, a beautiful bride here, is going to take on assessments. So professional assessments. So measuring behaviors, how you interact with people, how people interact with you, and the right way to do it, and so forth. Driving forces, what motivates you, and competencies, and then emotional quotient. And so what I've done since 2014, after studying this, and the whole thing started with Phil Bristol in 2006 when he assessed all my employees. I couldn't figure out why my turnover was so high, why my employees kept quitting, some of them with a notice, some of them without a notice. And then he came in and did this assessment, DISC, behaviors, driving forces, and competencies, and saved me for the last. He said, you know what? You're a jerk. He said, that's why people are quitting. And now he used some other language, but I'm not going to do that here. But you can use your imagination. And he says, if you don't learn how to communicate better with your employees, and you don't learn and take the time to understand what motivates them and give them more of the work that they love to do, that leverages their strengths and minimizes their weaknesses, you're never going to have a company that runs by itself. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I submitted. It took me about 3 months to really submit to it, but I submitted to the coaching, submitted to the training, and has since, signed up as a TTI member and offer that service, but never really took it to another level until I met my wife. And this year, after doing several things together, realized, you know what, she literally has the personality type, the behavior profile, everything to dance circles around me, around this type of stuff. And so I'm looking forward to getting that launched. If you're listening to the live call, we're going to kick things off in May and probably do a free webinar. And Those people that show up live are going to get an assessment given to them for free, and we're going to offer a debrief as well. So highly recommend that if you always wanted to know how to better leverage your strengths, minimize your weaknesses, and so forth, definitely stay tuned on stuff like that. So with that said, does anybody else have anything else that they would like to discuss today? Nope. Okay. Well, have a wonderful week. Go out and make it happen. We'll talk to you guys later.